Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome into round number 5 of the Ride365.com Nationals, powered by Versus PC in MX Simulator. My name is Kellen Brauer, and we're at Muddy Creek. I am going to be joined tonight by the one, the only, Chris Riesenberg. What is going on tonight, Checkers?
Oh, dealing with some people missing UID grabs at the moment. But welcome to Muddy Creek from the hills of Tennessee, filled with moonshine and whiskey.
Hey, that sounds like a good time to me. But what we're really going to have a good time with tonight is these races, as the 250 consolation race is currently wrapping up. We got Jack Gatland leading this thing, followed by Brandon Hedge, Aaron Bonneau, and Will Clark battling it out with Ben Toy. Only 4 going through, and there's only 5 guys on the track, so I have a feeling one of these guys is going to end with some tears across his face. Oh, who will it be? I don't know yet, but Will Clark is desperately trying to hang on. So what's up, everybody? We don't have many people hanging out in the chat yet. Looks like everything's just coming around. So we'll get the stream going hot and heavy tonight. What are you excited for, Chris? Not this track, I assume.
I'm excited to watch some racing and get things going. I'm sorry, I'm handling a few admin duties, and then I will have my full focus when the gate is ready to go for Moto number 1. I know we do need to look at qualifying times, and I do have those up in front of me. And by no surprise, 5 for 5, Colton Mitchell, still the man at the top of the board. But for big surprise, there's Brock Pearson. I want to see how he can do. Almost set the fastest time, sat on top of the board a long time this week. Chapman and Seabolt, great times. And Seidhofer, points leader, all the way down in 9th. And he is 3 seconds, well, 2.5 seconds off the top time. So quite a big difference there.
Wow, that is pretty crazy, and it refreshes my memory actually back to last week when a certain Russ Chapman popped his head into our chat room after the 250 races and said that he would like to congratulate Colton Mitchell on the 250 Outdoor Championship because him and Jared are, quote, over it. So not too sure if that's any sign of Jared being so far off the pace this week, or maybe he just isn't gelling with the track. But either way, I mean, we'll see tonight whether or not he has the same Jared level pace that we're used to from the defending champ. But that's pretty interesting. I mean, if it turns out that he's not ready to go tonight, who's going to take over in this championship, you know?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, that's for sure. I know Jared was around a little bit this week while I was there, and wasn't really digging the track, was really struggling with it. So maybe, you know, we saw 15th at the end of last week, or second moto last week. Sorry, I'm stumbling over my words here. Could those be the chinks in the armor starting to show for the defending champ?
Maybe a little bit, and like you said, that 15th last week, and he got a bad start last week, so you kind of give it to him there, but never really worked his way through the pack, didn't have any, you know, sense of urgency to get to the front, and kind of just stayed back there most of the race. Is very strange. So this could be a turning point in the championship right here tonight at Muddy Creek, where our defending champion comes in maybe a little bit down on confidence, or just not feeling it in the game much right now, or whatever it is, and someone else might step up and try to take over that top spot. And we're going to try to find out exactly who that will be.
Brauer.
Did I time out?
Yeah, you did. As you're coming back to us, actually leading the hot lap around is going to be our VersusPC.com one to watch. We're going to pick the number 169 RFX KTM rider of Ben Seaberg. Seaberg caught my eye last week by getting absolutely nasty off all the jumps, throwing some sick whips with some sick style. So I want to keep an eye on him to see where he can finish. He qualified in the number 11 spot this week, so let's see if he can charge up into a top 10 moto finish.
Heck yeah.
That'll be VersusPC.com one to watch. Log on to VersusPC.com for your custom desktop or PC needs. If it's not on the website, email them at info@VersusPC.com. Tell them Checkers and SYS sent you, and they'll even hook you up with a deal. Yep, that's right.
All right.
All right, all right, all right.
Well, I certainly like that pick because Mr. Seaberg was throwing it quite dirty last week. And just saw someone mention in chat, am I going to be taking shots for dualies again tonight? Yes, I will. Red Bull vodka in the house. And for any of you guys just watching for the first time, dualies is when 2 or more riders on the same jump throw some big whipper tails next to each other, behind each other, in front of each other. They just have to be close enough that we consider it dualies. And I'm certainly looking forward to that tonight. Not too sure. Oh, we got a 20 plus 2.
Chapman is over the gate, meaning he's going to get a 15-second penalty.
Yeah, but I think this is going to be red flag. This is a 20-minute plus 2 lap.
Must be a 1. Okay, there we go.
So either way, we're going to have another warm-up lap for these guys, it looks like.
Okay, red flag here.
Yep, red flag situation now being displayed in chat. So these guys are going to have to regroup themselves. Unfortunately, I think some of these guys may not realize it. If they have their message lines on 0 or something, they may not be able to see chat, and they could just be going for it. But we will get these guys regrouped here in a second. Meanwhile, there's guys throwing just absolute sauce on the second parade lap. Good to see.
Looks like we're going to be waiting a minute because there is no 30 plus 2 option on the server, so we're going to hope that Mr. Wheels is actually around to fix it because he's the only one with access to put tracks on the server.
Oh, Wheels. I need to try to figure out what jump is the best jump to watch for dualies tonight. Are these guys getting saucy enough on the uphill triple?
They're struggling to make it on 250s from what I'm hearing. I'm going to actually be giving Wheels a quick call here so we can... Oh, never mind. He is already on it and handling it, so it should be just a moment.
All right, so we are in a holding pattern here as this situation gets sorted. We need to put a 30-minute plus 2 lap track on the server as there's only a 20-minute plus 2 laps, so obviously maybe a small error there or something, just a mistype or whatever. Either way, we'll just keep hanging out and watching these guys ride around a little bit, seeing some of our regulars and also not so regulars joining us in the chat room. Lovely to see all of you guys here tonight. Always a great time when the live chat is kicking and a bumping, because you guys can always watch these back on YouTube at youtube.com/startyoursystems. Always have the full replays of these events back. So we get good numbers there, but it's awesome to have good live numbers as well so we can see what you guys are thinking of the racing action as we call it, as well as anything that you may want to see that we may have missed. More first-person cameras, perhaps. Maybe me not switching between riders so much. Who knows? Could be something, could be nothing.
Yeah. You know what? Since we are in Tennessee, maybe I should have a cocktail with you, Kellen.
A cocktail?
But I'm not just going to do, like, shots. I mean, I have some vodka and some 7-Up and some Red Bulls, so... I could mix myself up something and just be sipping all night.
Hey, well, I like that plan. I mean, not too sure how many dualies we're going to see tonight. If these guys on the 250s are struggling to make the triple.
Yeah, Shack Attack said this, and he is right. The jump after the finish, that whole straightaway is pretty good. Like, they're all scrubbing down pretty hard on that thing, so.
Yeah, I saw that in the parade lap. A couple guys maybe doing what we would consider dualies, but I didn't really want to say it yet, so we'll see. Someone also in chat saying Donut MX is racing this. So where is Mr. Burt Powers? There he is, the legend himself. Obviously, Brett Powers pretty popular on YouTube when it comes to MX Simulator stuff. Does a lot of cool things, and a real nice fellow. So be sure to check out Donut MX on YouTube. Cool guy.
What do you got tonight, Kellen? What are some of your predictions? You got any bold predictions for us?
Bold predictions, huh? I don't know if I have many bold predictions.
If you need a minute, I got one.
All right, well, go ahead and make yours, and I'll keep looking through the field and see if I have any.
I'm going to call. We've seen Brock Pearson inside the top 10, sniffing on the top 5s a handful of times this year. He's been good, and he qualified extremely well this week. I'm going to call him to get a moto podium tonight on the number 194 MV Films machine. Brock Pearson on the podium in this 250 class.
All right. That's interesting. Could see that happening though. So, oh boy, I don't know. Bold predictions. I don't know if anything I say would be that bold because I'm usually pretty bland when it comes to predictions.
Yeah.
Let me think.
But while you're at it, let's log into the racetech.com keys to the race. We're going to make these up on the spot as we go. Here for this 250 class, it's going to be nail the uphill triple. These guys having to get a good run at it to get over it and stretch it. And if you come up short, it's not going to feel good. So nail the uphill triple is going to be one. Always good start, so we're not even going to use that one. You can keep that one, Fro. Don't need it. We're also going to say it's the first time that I think we've seen a rough track in a couple weeks. And so consistency is going to be way more important than speed tonight. Staying off the ground. The ruts are a little choppier. They'll really grab you and bite you if you don't get into them right. And there's kind of some ninja bumps out there where they'll just reach up and bite you if you don't hit them just right. So 100% staying off the ground. Consistency will reign over speed. So being consistent, key number 2. And key number 3, look good. Duh, you got to look fast to go fast, right? Look fast, feel fast, go fast. And we're going racing. Moto number 1 has just restarted. Here we go, boys.
All right. Well, I'm going to key off of one of your keys to the moto right there for my surprise tonight and go with your consistency there that you talked about and pick William St. Laurent for a top 5. He's had a real rough season. I think I see him doing better things here tonight, and we'll see if maybe he turns it around. But we are set to go.
Is that a top 5, top 10? What do you think?
Top 5, top 5. We are set to go, though. Muddy Creek 250 National is underway as the gate is
our one
down.
To watch was stuck in the gate.
Oh.
Down to turn number 1. Brock Pearson's going to nail this start. No, Jeremy Cohenauer. Pearson's going to go down the inside early into the lead. Possibly side by side with Cohenauer.
Your championship leader, Sidehoff, was down on the start as well as the number 10 of Colton Mitchell. They both got collected on the inside gate as Pearson leads them through.
Cohenauer are down, and they collected either Donovan or Cross. That was Craig Leak, actually.
Oh, so big shakeup.
Takes off in the lead. Chapman to the 2 ride. Jordan Moxie, Devin Ryan, and Alex Carlo.
Oh,
top 5.
Oh, Seaberg down. I was just watching Ben Seaberg. He literally whipped into Seabolt and then got hit back across the track into another rider. Didn't see who it was. Somehow rode out of that, but ended up going down. Carnage everywhere, though, early on.
Into the booter, triple lap number 1. Top couple guys all going to go for it. Alex Carlo, the first one not to get the run to jump it, gets jumped over by Siebold.
Yeah, these guys are just falling out of the sky.
Chapman almost down off the bike. Down that old finish straightaway. The SYS Highway.
SYS Highway, I like that. So Chapman trying to go after your race leader, Pearson. Boy, did you call it, Chris. Brock Pearson shining through. He's not even our versus PC one to watch. That one is already on the ground and at the back of the pack, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, I try to pick someone that won't necessarily be in the top 10 so we can give someone else a little stream time. And I got called Pearson for a podium. I can't really pick him as the one to watch as well.
That's true. That's a good point. Good point. But you're spot on the money right now. Pearson leading this thing as he brings it down through the mechanics area. And he's looking to get away early here. Only Chapman really coming with him.
Guys working that wall coming into the corner onto the start straight to miss those bumps. Chapman is already got about 5 seconds behind him over Alex Carlo and Devin Ryan. So the top 2 guys definitely are splitting away. A couple different lines down that first downhill. Brock Pearson trying to sneak away from Russ Chapman.
So Carlo has Devin Ryan and Tyler Lewis coming with him. That is the closest battle inside of the top 5 is those 3, as in the background I believe I saw Silic going off the track.
Yeah, Silic is dropped into the number 7 ride behind Jordan Moxie on the Architect number 57. Josh Betts, strong ride early on here up in the 8th spot. Colton Mitchell, pretty decent start for him as we get into lap number 3. Runs in the 9 spot. Cohenauer now drops into the top 10 ride after that good start. I'm going to pop back where you check out the front of the field and take a look and find Sidehoff back in the 21 spot as we take off onto, it's actually the second full lap because the finish line's close to the start here. So, but it says lap 3 on the pit board. So Sidehoff has a lot of work to do as he's not even in the points yet.
Yeah, and as we mentioned a little bit in our little pre-race discussion there, Sidehoff not feeling the track and a bad start. Ugh.
Tyler Lewis is on the ground on the SYS freeway. Is going to give up spots to Silic, Mitchell, and looks like Cohenauer also probably will go by as he gets back going.
We got a battle for the lead already starting to brew as Pearson is looking strong, but Chapman appears to be looking stronger as he is creeping up onto the back of the 194 at the front. And these two are breaking away quickly from the rest of the field.
8.4 seconds now. Back to Carlos, still holding on to third with some heavy pressure from Devin Ryan for that spot.
So watch this battle for third. Watching it real quick.
Devin Ryan was one of the guys that really liked this track, was excited to see some roughness come back to the series here in Tennessee.
Yeah, and you talked a little bit about that in the pre-race discussion as well, the roughness factor on this track. We've seen arguably 4 tracks to begin the year that weren't necessarily the hardest tracks for our pro riders out here to master, and this one has had some weird kicks. A lot of people complaining on the forums about you know, having weird crashes that they weren't expecting, and that could come up to bite some of our heavy hitters tonight as they're pushing the envelope, especially early on from Seidhoff and Mitchell and last week's winner Sean Klein riding from the back and having to push the envelope on this track.
Alex Carlo holding up well under the pressure from Devin Ryan as they go up and over the bomber triple and tuck into that inside line. Ryan looking for an opening.
Somehow Ryan was able to hop over that inside rut and not get cross-rutted. It looked like his rear wheel was going to kick out, but he just plopped into it nicely enough.
Oh, we got a sick battle for the lead. Chapman actually was showing a wheel to Brock Pearson in the turn. Pulled up alongside, wasn't able to get the job done just yet, but check out the battle for first. Brock Pearson under some heavy pressure.
Yeah, and Pearson not necessarily too accustomed to this spot, but I guess you can't say that Chapman is super accustomed to winning races. It's not like he's won a ton. He has won some. Pearson obviously hasn't won one yet, but he's trying as Chapman has the line going into the corner and closes off the line to the outside. Although Pearson has a good run,
drive up the hill and the inside. He's going to show a wheel. Takes the spot back.
Yeah, Chapman flat tracks it around the outside. Might still have the lead here. Coming down the inside, they're going to go side by side in to the finish line.
Both going to triple up into that inside rut and play follow the leader and tuck in. Chapman takes the lead as they start off on lap number 5. At the battle for third is no longer a battle as Carlo hits the deck. Devin Ryan goes by. Jordan Moxey through as well. Carlo falls back to the 5 spot. And here comes Colton Mitchell, Prime Design Graphics, our fast qualifier on the number 10.
Well, that's an amazing turn of events to have Mitchell up here already. He was off the track and almost down about maybe 20 feet off the gate, and somehow finds himself just outside of the top 5 already. We're only 6.5 minutes into this thing.
I'm gonna pop back. I find Jared Seidhoff. Looked like he was maybe just getting up from a fall. He's up to the 14 spot. Hasn't even dropped his lap time below a 2:06 yet, so he's still got a lot of work to do to try to salvage some points in this moto.
Oh, Mitchell almost into Devin Ryan, who is getting up from a crash at the bottom of the Tiger Designs bomber and almost gets landed in the back of as Silic comes in. And now his teammate Tyler Lewis on that relaxed tire machine also creeping up into the mix.
So that moves Moxie up into the 3 spot.
Oh, he's down. Cohenauer's going to go through. So yeah, Moxie up into the 3 spot, kind of all alone, obviously way behind our lead group already, as Pearson continues to lose time to Chapman up front. So now Mitchell's going to get the target placed firmly on the back of Alex Carlo as he goes after him. Try to lock down that 4 spot. And gets it just like that. Carlo, a small mistake before the mechanics area, loses it. So Mitchell up to 4th. Could this be that breakthrough moto we've been waiting for Mitchell?
Oh, Pearson's down in the number 2 spot, so that's going to allow Moxie to close up a lot of that 12-second gap that was between 2nd and 3rd and allow Chapman out to a huge commanding lead on the number 13.
All right, so Chapman, this is pretty much his moto to lose. I don't think he's going to lose too many chunks of seconds to Colton Mitchell as the laps click on this. So we should expect some crashing out of both of them.
Chapman, though, already getting into lappers, and one thing about it, this track being a little more technical, a little harder to switch lines, and if you do have to run a line you haven't been running the whole race, could be costly as you try to move around a lapped rider. And remember, consistency, staying off the ground is going to be key here at Muddy Creek.
So we'll see how that consistency factor plays out as this race develops. Not even a third of the way into it yet. And we've already seen a lot of shakeups up at the front due to crashing. So obviously it's just going to become more intensified as this race goes on. And that was Pearson slid out in the corner after the SYS straightaways. So Colton Mitchell goes up into third.
Wheels are coming off a little bit for Brock Pearson. Not too terrible. He's still got a top 5 ride going, but struggling a little bit with consistency. Showed he has the speed with his qualifying time.
I think he just needs to take a deep breath, regroup. Obviously, leading the race, perhaps, I believe the first time he's led a pro national, it might have got the better of his nerves a little bit there, and now a couple awkward, weird crashes puts him in an inopportune position, but like you said, still up here. And that's half the battle.
Chapman just came across the finish, ran back-to-back 149 lap times. So he's definitely feeling it out front, but he is into lap traffic pretty heavy already. He's got big groups of guys right in front of him. So a 13-second lead, I wouldn't say is safe by any means. Jordan Moxie running in that 2-ride. Man on the move, Colton Mitchell, 149.3, back-to-back 149s for him as well. So he's laying the heaters down.
Yeah, I think Mitchell is fired up this week. Whether or not he thinks that maybe Seidhoff isn't going to be around
down.
Or what. Oh, yeah, Moxie down, upside down in that off-camber rut. And he is also going to lose a spot to Pearson. Maybe Carlo. Carlo just creeping into the picture, but not going to quite get to him as they head up to the Taggart Designs uphill triple. And all these guys sending it and just getting it.
It was nice of the fine folks at Muddy Creek to name a jump after Jordan Vanderlee. The Bomber!
Hopefully we see Mr. Vanderbomber throwing it
Chapman
backwards.
into some serious lappers. Guys laying down across the racetrack. He's got a group of about 20 guys beside him, but he does have a 17-second gap over Colton Mitchell, who runs in the 2-ride.
Wow. Only 10 minutes, 11 minutes now into this moto, and look at the traffic surrounding Chapman. It is just everywhere.
Yeah, definitely a technical track and also a short lap time have something to do with it. And Chapman obviously running a fantastic pace at the front of the field.
Yeah, he looks comfortable and so far has survived despite there being so much traffic around him. Wonder if there's any pressure getting to him at all, though. Having all this traffic around, we know Chapman isn't necessarily the coolest of heads when it comes to situations like this. Yeah,
I mean, he does still dropped in a 150 lap time even with all that traffic that he had to work through. There was guys literally laying across the track in front of him. There's a couple guys down right there. He had to switch his lineup, a little bounce, jumps over a rider right there. He's making it through these guys, but it's got to be making him nervous. Now, at the same point, he's getting through these guys, and that means Colton Mitchell's also going to have to go through them as he finds more riders on the ground as he goes through.
Well, so far what I'm seeing out of him, he's got tremendous track awareness. It looks like he's looking ahead as much as he can. He might have some spotters telling him what's going on as well. But that move, hopping over the downed rider and then switching up his lines at the top of the Taggart Designs bomber, all really good maneuvers on his part as he tries to navigate around Donovan there.
Logged another 149 that last lap, but he is now into that heavy group of riders that we just saw Chapman get through. Now Mitchell has to find his way through cleanly because Chapman has executed these lappers exceptionally. Such a good job. And he actually has a little bit of a clear track now, probably for a lap, maybe even a lap and a half, depending on if they fall down and whatnot. So Chapman got through the first part of the storm and is probably lapped already up into the top 25 or so. I mean, he is ripping through these guys.
Right. We're on board now with Mitchell as he tries to navigate through these lappers, and you get a up close and personal look at what it's like to try to change up your lines and look ahead and see where these guys might be going.
We got a
Yeah,
battle on our
clear.
hands for the number 4 spot. Jeremiah Siebold is all over Alex Carlo. And we actually lost Moxie out of that battle as he was in there as well. Oh, never mind. It was actually Brock Pearson in the 3rd spot, Carlo 4th, and Siebold 5th. Those 3 riders have all hooked up on the racetrack. A couple seconds is all that separates them. Siebold all over the back wheel of Carlo.
Yeah, and now as Mitchell has started to work his way through these lapped riders up ahead, these guys are also about to hit them as they are not too far behind the man in 2nd, Colton Mitchell.
Yeah, Mitchell dropped his lap time into a 1:51 last time, but Chapman was actually the same exact lap time. So even with all the lappers, the lead has not fluctuated. The problem is it's 16 seconds.
And we got to change for that 4th spot now as Siebold goes around Carlo, who made a small mistake, popped out of the inside right after the finish, was able to corral it together, but has lost the spot now to Siebold.
Pearson's got to lay that hammer down to make me look like a genius and land on the podium here at Muddy Creek as he goes over the Bomber Triple. And there's riders everywhere in front of him. He's able to switch lines at the last second. Is Siebold going to get through? He barely gets through as well. Here comes Carlo.
Look at all these guys right here. There's, oh man, maybe 8 guys packed in here.
Nothing
only
more
a couple of
nerve-wracking
them are
as
on
a
the lead
rider
lap.
as well as Siebold has, looks like Jake Rose actually whipping into him as he's trying to work around a lapper. Nerve-wracking for these guys. They're in a battle, but they're also getting lapped. But they need to make way for the leaders, and Jake Rose is not doing that. He's actually slowing up Siebold big time as he jumps off the track finally to allow him to go through.
Yeah, well, I think they're... Oh, Carlo over the bars in the background.
Head over heels over bars.
Yeah.
He is down for the count.
Moxie's going to go through. Siebold's still dealing with some of these lappers. I was just about to say that I think... Oh, and Siebold's down. He gets onto... That's Jonathan Hughes. And Jake Rose gets sent. Oh, and he gets... That is 214. Not sure. That maybe Mullins. And so Moxie got through around Siebold. Siebold's still kind of mired in all this traffic.
214 is Dale Mullins, by the way.
Alrighty. And also update...
Battle for second.
Yeah. Saw in
we have
chat
Brock Pearson into the spot.
Heckman letting us know that Mitchell was down in that group of lappers, so he did lose the spot to Pearson, as we see on our screen now.
And they have separated themselves from Moxie now by 11 seconds, so they're going to battle over this number 2 spot with no one right behind them, but a ton of lappers in front of them. While Chapman gone out front. And guess what, Kellen? We're halfway through this moto, so once this battle cools down a little bit, we'll be nailing one of them top 10 rundowns. Oh,
that was a little bit of lag bubble right there, I think. No contact on our screen, but Pearson putting Mitchell on the deck. I think he might have done it anyway because of his line right there, but Mitchell down and further back of that number 2 spot.
Top 10 rundown brought to you by the fine folks. Well, the fine folk over at twitch.tv/MotoAgogo. Go and watch his streams because, well, I don't know. He sponsors us by streaming some stuff sometimes. Rush Chapman leading the way on the number 13. Riding for the boys this week. I don't know if he left his team, just changed up his name, what he's got going on. But Chapman, whatever he's doing is working as he's got a 20-second gap over Brock Pearson on the MV Films 194, running in the number 2 ride. Colton Mitchell, Prime Design Graphics, top qualifier every week so far. This Ride365.com outdoor 250 class runs in the number 3 ride. But he's got some heavy pressure from Jeremiah Siebold, also riding for the boys. Is that a new team or are they just being silly? I don't know. Then we got Jordan Moxie, the Architect, number 57, running in 5th. Alex Carlos, ever good, number 66, slots in the number 6 ride with pressure from Craig Leake, his teammate, running in the number 7 spot. So Leake's been really hot and cold this year. Maybe a hot week for him this week. Jeremy Cohenauer runs in the number 8 spot. Another MV Films rider aboard the number 42. Tyler Lewis riding for a Relaxed Tire aboard that 2018 RMZ. Runs in the number 9 spot. And his teammate, Devin Ryan, slots into the 10 ride. Rounding out the top 10 on this top 10 rundown brought to you by Mr. MotoAgogo. And I'm going to check on our VPC.com. One to watch. Ben Seberg runs back in the number 16 spot, about to go a lap down to our leader. So that's how far up Chapman has lapped. If we want to go on board with Chapman, we can actually see our versus PC.com one to watch. Ben Seberg coming up in front of him here in just a moment with a 31-second lead, a 149.4 lap time last time around. Rush Chapman is laying it down in the lead. Battle for second is a 3-rider fight now. Brock Pearson, Colton Mitchell, and Jeremiah Siebold. Boom, boom, boom as they drop off the drop-off onto the SYS straightaway.
Well, I don't know much about the situation with Siebold and Chapman being on the same team now, but I do know that Chapman definitely did leave DX3 because there was a lot of pre-race antagonist chat, I guess you could call it, between the two. Not friendly conversation.
Dagger.
So we'll watch this battle now as Siebold, Mitchell, and Pearson are locked up. Mitchell looking on an inside move on Pearson, but Pearson has a better line. Mitchell is down, and Siebold into
gets
him.
Hung up with him.
Oh, Siebold trying to get out of the rut. Gets tangled with another rider.
Big benefactor there will be Brock Pearson. Once again, consistency plays key there, avoiding the mistakes, getting through the lappers. I'm going to throw it down to our pit reporter, Larry Londart, with an update on the boys' race team.
Okay, hello. This, from what I understand, the team is a team of Russ Chapman, Jeremy Siebold, and another rider, I believe. And it used to be called Retired IRL Racing, but they have actually made a team since Jeremy has left Prime and Rush left DX3.
All right, so more team hopping going on. No surprise there from Jeremiah Siebold, as he's been known for it, and a little bit from Chapman as well. But cool to see a new team with some top heavy hitters joining the force.
A question in chat that I'd just like to answer real quick because I actually find it really interesting is when first person is shown on this stream right now as Pearson goes down. And yeah, Siebold's going to get him. The question, maybe Siebold won't get him. No, actually, there's going to be a battle now. Oh, man.
Mitchell, Siebold, and Pearson, and a whole bunch of lappers all together on the racetrack once again.
The question regarding first person settings, when I switch to a rider and I'm in first person, it actually shows my settings, not theirs. But that would be cool if it did show their settings, so we'd have a clearer idea of exactly what they're looking at as compared to what I'm looking at through their perspective.
Wow, Sally Slow-Mo trying to get out of the way, but he went through that turn in slow-mo, and they all followed him through. It's a three-rider fight for this number 2 position. Pearson under some ridiculous pressure. And Moxie not far off, only 3 seconds back as well.
Oh, Mitchell sends it down. And that's Gebhardt that they're lapping right there. So normally we see Gebhardt up front as Mitchell almost puts him on the ground. Now Siebold going after Pearson for the 2 spot.
Yeah, Gebhardt running back in the number 20 spot, trying to fight to get a point right now, plus let the leaders go by. He's trying to be a good lapper. He's getting passed by about 15 guys while doing it. Guys not knowing what to do, whether to race forward because they're in a big group or let the leaders go or how to handle it. Gebhardt obviously trying just not to get banned. Carlo and Moxie were actually down in that group of lappers, and Carlo can't get back going and then almost gets a double fall off. Bad news for the number 66.
Just when it looked like Siebold was going to go get Pearson, now Siebold falling back into the clutches of Mitchell, so that battle's now heating up for the 3 spot.
We're 21 minutes into the moto, so still quite a bit of racing going on. A lot of laps, as they're already on lap number 13 with the shorter lap time. The good thing for these guys is they're in such a battle, the race goes by pretty fast when you're in that situation, unless, of course, you're Brock Pearson in front of these guys with some heavy pressure.
Pearson looks like he's navigating his way through the lappers quite well. It's these two that keep kind of getting hung up on each other.
Down the SYS highway.
No, that was a perfect opportunity for dualies, but they both actually boner aired harder than anything.
And Mitchell going to rail the outside, misses a little bit of the berm, but he's still going to be able to take over the spot.
Yeah, Siebold also kind of messed up the bottom of the rut down there. So Mitchell takes over the 3 spot again. Next up, he's going to try to go get Pearson, maybe bring Siebold with him this time.
Oh, Pearson off the racetrack. He's going to lose some time. He doesn't go down, so he stays in the number 2 spot, but he's going to have that pressure from those guys once again. This time it's going to be the Honda of Colton Mitchell and not Jeremiah Siebold right up on him.
So 3-rider battle continues as my pick to watch in this one, St. Laurent, moves out of the way. And Pearson was down, missed that on the outside of the track, but he's down. So Mitchell now into the 2 spots. Siebold still coming right with him.
All the way from Hawaii, welcome to the stream, Luke Rainier.
Oh, Mitchell goes down right after that, so he coughs up 2 more spots. Pearson gets back by. Seabolt now into the 2 ride, but he is way, way behind Russ Chapman, who is definitely taken off and ran with this thing.
Update on our points leader and defending champ, Jared Sidehoff. He is mired back in the 13th spot still. So once again, 2 motos in a row showing with a bad start that he kind of might get stuck back here and leaving a little bit of light open for everyone else in this championship when it looked like he might all but run away with it.
Yeah, this is just so weird. I wonder if maybe this fires up Sidehoff, realizing that this championship isn't going to come to him as easy, but I don't know. This is going to be really interesting to watch going into the next couple weeks of racing.
I mean, we still got a good bit of racing left, but the next rider in his sights is Sean Klein.
So Klein's
Bill
right
Bull, and they're all pretty
him.
spread out.
Yeah.
So it's going to be tough for him to really, I mean, I don't see him getting much more than maybe an 8th or so if he really lays it down and some guys make some big mistakes. But
right. This is a tough follow-up week for your overall winner last week, Sean Klein. Struggling back here with Sidehoff as well.
Moxie has moved around Mitchell into the 4 spot. Mitchell all over him at the moment.
So Mitchell keeps getting up to the front and then crashing his way back to the 5th or 6th spot and then working his way back to 2nd and then crashing back there again. He's got the speed, but consistency is lacking, and that was one of your keys to the race that we talked about.
Absolutely. Seabolt actually just made a small mistake, so it brings Pearson a little bit closer up into that 2 spot. You're going to have to go after it, see if he can make it happen. Seabolt also been a little bit faster than Pearson most laps, but again, making some mistakes. That's, I mean, it's honestly a gimme key to the race, so because that's pretty much every race outdoors. Just more important, I believe, on this track, being that it's rougher and being that you're dealing with so much more lap traffic on the shorter lap time.
Right. These guys have to be smarter this round, especially when it comes to managing their speed. They can't just push it outright to the flat-out pace. They have to think about their lines in certain sections. And when these lappers come up, you know, sometimes it's often that we see these guys end up in lines that maybe they haven't even hit all week. They've just been funneling into that one line, trying to run that one golden lap all week long, and they don't try different lines. There's a thing we talked about earlier in the season that was so strong about Jesse Mullins and his 450 campaign, finding different lines.
Into that 12 and 13 spot, you're going to find a sick battle that coming into the race, it wouldn't surprise you if it was for the lead, as Sidehoff actually takes the spot as the lapper gets back going in front of them. Sean Klein had to jump out of the rut. Klein, last week's Moto number 2 winner, I believe, and Sidehoff, of course, your defending champ and points leader. They now have a lapper separating. I'm not sure who that is. He's racing Sidehoff extremely hard, though.
144. That's
Caden Speck, and now he's going to crash after already making Klein lose the spot. Not surprised to see him causing issues.
Bummer. But before we went back to that battle, just wanted to take note that we saw Jordan Moxie hit the deck, so Mitchell was able to get back by him. And
he's actually going to fall into the clutches of Alex Carlo here, as Carlo's about a 1.5 seconds behind him, has a shot
and
to
lappers
move back
everywhere.
up into the top 5. Moxie a little mistake, but Carlo still can't get around. I believe that's St. Laurent. He does finally get him around him there.
Damn, look at that drive from Carlo down the straightaway. He gained so much time on Moxie.
Railed that corner very well as well, so he is all over the back wheel now to get that top 5 spot from Moxie. Moxie stretches it out just a little bit, but Carlo can smell blood in the water.
And never ceases to amaze me when I go on board with some of these guys in the 250 class to see how much speed they really are carrying through the corners. It doesn't look that crazy, I don't think, from a third-person perspective, but on board, they are just railing some of these corners.
Carlo rails that inside there, inches back closer. If he would have been almost side-by-side coming in, I think he would have had enough run to make the pass. They're going to come up into this bomber triple with a lapper in front of him. Moxie's got to hope the lapper goes for it and gets over it clean.
And he does. Oh.
Makes a mistake. Here comes Carlo around the inside. The mistake's going to open the door, and into the top 5 goes Alex Carlo with a great performance going on right now for the number 66. That lapper finally falls down and is out of the way now.
Yep, that was Thomas Sillick, by the way, on the 428. All right, battle
across
for
the finish.
second kind of brewing again. Siebold under attack from your pick is going to be spot on with the podium here. Brock Pearson.
Yeah, Pearson dropped his lap into a 148.4 last lap, so now he may be feeling a little more comfortable running at the front, has turned it up, and he is putting the pressure all over Jeremiah Siebold, who ran a 148.1, which might be the fastest lap of the race. I'm actually going to flip through and check out the lap times. Oh, a 147.7 from Seidhoff, who actually has had a crash. He's back in the 12th spot now, behind Sean Klein once again.
Frustration continues for Seidhoff as his battle for second. Oh, ends almost in tears. Pearson lost the rear end and lost a lot of time in the process. So he's going to have to go back to work and start trying to put some laps together to catch Siebold before the end of this thing. We are 1 minute away from time expiring, and that 2-lap board will come out.
It was right at 20 minutes, or 28 minutes, I'm sorry, when Chapman crossed the finish. So it should be 3 to go this time over the line. Running the lap times that they are running, and Pearson is laying the laps down. He ran a 147.3 last time around, so he has definitely got his hot lap speed on point right now as he tries to close the gap on Siebold. What he has to be careful about now is Mitchell's only 6 seconds back. That means a fall off would knock him out of a podium position.
I think Chapman, just looking at the time and where he is on the track, I think he is going to get there before time expires, but just barely. Gonna keep watching the line to make sure of that. But yeah, he's got 15 seconds to go coming into the final corner. So through the last corner, it is 3 laps to go here. Moto number 1 of the 250 class at Muddy Creek as Chapman comes over the line once more. Taking a look back and seeing that Moxie is once again on the back door of Alex Carlo. Never safe inside of the top 5, even when your competitor for that position crashes. These guys have been going back and forth with that all race long now.
Moxie made a mistake there, jumped out of the rut. Overall lappers down bike, but stays on it and stays on the throttle with Carlo within striking distance.
Moxie looks to be a little bit quicker through most parts of the track, but they're pretty evenly matched on speed. So it's pretty tough to get in there and really make a pass when you're this close. Oh, Carlo ends up upside down and down off the bike before the finish line.
At the number 9, well, never mind, that's spread out. The 9 and 10 spot was a fierce battle going on between Tyler Lewis and Craig Leake. Leake made a small mistake, allowed Lewis to separate himself just a little bit, but they're still pretty close on the racetrack and never too far away from Tyler Lewis. You'll usually find Devin Ryan. Seems like those two teammates are always hooked up together on the racetrack.
It's really weird because I don't feel like until maybe this year it seemed like that ever really happened. Like, yeah, every once in a while you'd have teammates link up, but it's almost like these guys ride together often enough and they share setups nowadays and they all have similar advanced abilities that if you ride together and you figure out a pace together, then you usually end up together on the track. Leake's still looking close in on Lewis, though.
Yeah, everything's pretty spread out at the moment. Other than Leake putting the pressure on Lewis here a little bit down the SYS freeway.
Woo.
They do have the lapper, the number 140, separating them right now.
That is Brett Powers, Donut MX himself, getting out of the way. I also saw...
mistake from Lewis. Off track, just pins it to come back on. I think he actually made time on Leake.
Oh, man. Real close action there.
Leake, a really animated style. I'm seeing him humping the bike a lot, and he's really just aggressively pounding through and into stuff. Not just smooth and flowing, but just almost forcing the bike Weston Pike style out there.
Yeah, and that's an interesting observation because I feel like a lot of what made Craig Leake so strong last year, excuse me, was that he was just consistently fast. never really outright the fastest guy on the track, but you know, consistently would put down laps close enough and not crash. But now he's really pushing the envelope this year and can't seem to find the same pace that he had.
Rush Chapman going to come down to the line one more time. He should be grabbing the white flag this time around. On the number 13, white flag flies. One more lap to go. 36-second lead over Jeremiah Siebold. Colton Mitchell's found himself into third, so Pearson slides her down to the ground and has lost touch with Mitchell. Maybe lost touch with an opportunity at a podium finish here in Moto number 1 at Tennessee.
Man. He's going to let you down, Chris. What a shame.
Oh, there's 2 motos, bro, and he looks good out there tonight.
Fair enough, but he needs another start.
Oh, man, and the battle for 8th, Lewis and Ryan get together. Lewis went down, got back going, runs into his teammate. Craig Leake puts the pressure on both of them. And Leake and Devin Ryan are now going to do battle.
Look at this run from Leake down the straightaway. Got a great drive.
That's not a straightaway. That's the SYS highway.
Oh, wow. Big save from Leake. Got all kinds out of shape, but did a nice job to corral it and still has a chance to get Devin Ryan. Although now it's a slimmer chance as he lost a lot of time right there. Oh, Leak. There it is. Yep. Yeah, pushing the envelope a little bit much there as your race leader slides on through. So we didn't talk much about him this race, but a damn good ride from Russ Chapman. Got away early and never looked back. My, oh my, did he get away. And this is going to be one for the books here.
While he's rushing down to the finish line, Seidhoff is fighting hard still. He's found himself, he was up to 11th, makes a mistake with a lapper. Sean Klein's going to go back by him. I was going to say, he has a chance still to lock down a top 10 finish, but Russ Chapman coming around.
Yeah, Chapman brings it through the final corner, and Russ Chapman, he's going to take moto number 1 here at Muddy Creek, and dominatingly so. Man, oh man, what a great ride out of him. And we're going to have a long wait for number 2, or P2, I should say, number 19 in the program book, Jeremiah Siebold, to come around.
Wow, he lapped up past 9th place.
Wow.
Chapman feeling it.
So Siebold, yeah,
finally coming around.
Survived Mitchell and Pearson multiple times to bring home this 2nd place, so I'm sure he'll be pretty
back here in
that
250 class.
Yeah. And Mitchell is, again, looking at it probably like another lost opportunity. He just keeps getting bad starts. But this time gains a lot of points on your championship leader, Seidhoff, who, as you mentioned, only able to bring it home 11th.
Oh, what could have been. Brock Pearson, MV Films, comes across in the number 4 spot, 1 spot out of the podium. Jordan Moxie going to come around down the last downhill, and now he's safely in that spot as Alex Carlo hits the deck. I think he'll be safe. But Moxie going to round out your top 5 on the Architect number 57. Here comes Alex Carlo. Great performance for the ever good 66. Ran up near that top 5 the whole moto. Consistently good for Alex Carlo. Cohenauer battling out with a lapper down the last hill. He goes into the final turn on the 42. Another top 10 for the MV Films boys, going 4th and 7th with Cohenauer and Pearson. And Devin Ryan going to be our last rider on the lead lap on the relaxed attire. Number 32 is going to bring home 8th. Craig Leake and Tyler Lewis round out your top 10. Seidhoff gets up to the 11 spot. John Klein drops some points as he fell down there on that last lap and falls to the 13 ride.
I think Clint Martin is going to be the last guy to bring it through here.
Ben Seberg, our versus PC.com one to watch, comes across in the number 15 spot, putting some points on the board.
All right, Jake Warden takes a spot from St. Laurent. And that was the only changes as Russ Chapman wins moto number 1 here from Muddy Creek. We're going to throw it to commercial break real fast. We'll be right back on the other side of this with more action from the Ride365.com Nationals, powered by Versus PC, here from Muddy Creek. RaceFactoryGaming.com would like to thank the following sponsors for their continued support. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back into the broadcast booth here for round number 5 of the Ride265.com Nationals powered by Versus PC. My name is Kellen Brauer. We'll be joined in a moment by Chris Riesenberg, and our lovely pit reporter, Eli Block. We're going to get 250 moto number 2 underway here in just a moment. 250 moto number 1 just wrapped up, and here comes 250 moto 2 right now. We're going right back into it, and here is Checkers joining us back in the booth.
And it's time for the VersusPC.com one to watch, and I'm going to pick Team Volcom rider Phil Bull, who's been hanging out right around that top 10 spots all year long. And I want to see if Phil Bull can maybe lock himself in like a top 8 would be a sick moto for the number 82.
I like it. Well, we're about to see what happens with Phil Bull and the rest of the 40 riders on the gate as we are underway. Moto number 2 from Muddy Creek in the 250 class. Gate is down. Good start from Bull. Better start from the 32 of Devin Ryan.
Slides out and off the bike on the ground. Out front's Craig Leake, and guess who got a good start this time? Jared side off on the number 1 Prime Design graphics machine. He is fired up. You can just see it the way he went down that straightaway, nails this inside rut straight to the lead. He is not having any of that bad start business. A couple outside the top 10 moto finishes he is not okay with. He is going to try to take off here with the lead. Leake, Jonathan Hughes, Jordan Moxie, and Brock Pearson round out your top 5 as we rip down the straightaway over the tables for the lap number 1.
This is going to be very interesting as Sidehoff leads the way. Will he fade or will he pull away and win this thing? Not very comfortable with the track, as you mentioned earlier on in the broadcast. Had a lackluster Moto 1 by his standards, I'm sure, with an 11th. Now leads this thing from Craig Leake and looking to get away quick.
Our Moto number 1 winner, Russ Chapman, all the way back in the 26th spot as he goes over the bomber. Triple's going to leap over about 10 guys and move over a bunch of spots, actually, as there's riders down in the turn. He goes all the way from 26th to 18th on one jump. But he's got a lot of work to do after winning Moto number 1 in dominant fashion. Can Sidehoff do what Chapman did in Moto number 1? Get away early as Leaks off the track. Sean Klein going to try to jump into the number 2 ride.
There are a lot of guys up here that were not up at the front in the first moto, at least not early at the front. Obviously, we saw Leak near the front, near the end of the moto, but him, Sean Klein, Jared Sidehoff, all those guys were buried back in the pack at the beginning of Moto 1. They have great starts this time.
Yeah, Moxie and Pearson really the only 2 guys that were up at the front of Moto number 1 that are up here in Moto number 2. The overall is going to be all shaken up.
Yeah.
As they run right now. Of course, a lot of racing to go. Nice to see Gebhardt with a better start. And Hughes, Leake, Klein, and Sidehoff, all those guys. I mean, yeah, they were just buried.
Yep. Oh, Klein, big crossover, somehow was able to corral it and actually might keep the spot. He's side by side with Leake coming into the final corner down the inside. And yes, he does keep the spot. Wow, that was a great save and held on to the spot as well. Sure, he's going to be wishing that didn't happen, but still able to hold on.
We're not even 3 minutes into this moto. Ben Toy and Jake Rose have both already rage quit. Jake Rose says, ban me in chat, and then quits out of the race. Not sure what's going on there.
Interesting. First sign we see of Siebold, second in Moto 1. He's already up into the 4th spot as he works his way around St. Laurent. Brock Pearson also here.
Battle for second is on fire right now. Craig Leake and Sean Klein launch the Tagger Bomber Triple. Split ruts in the corner, Leake and Klein.
Yeah, teammates might be chatting with each other, might not be. Not too sure their situation over there. But regardless, they're going to try to hook up and go after your race leader, Sidehoff, who is starting to get away quickly at the front. And it's so weird, you almost can't see him. That camouflage bottoms and arms, all you see is the black centerfold of his jersey, and then that glowing red machine with the red plates.
That was a really lame attempt at a joke, Kellen.
Yeah, I try.
That wasn't very punny.
I'll leave you to do the puns. You're much better.
I'm going to throw it down to Larry Londart for a quick update on our Moto number 1 winner, Russ Chapman.
Russ Chapman right now was a few seconds ago back in 32nd, but right now in 29th.
A lot of work to do for the number 13 of Russ Chapman if he's going to have contention for this overall, which is an absolute mess right now. Looks like Siebold would be the one in the driver's seat as he had a good first moto with the number 2 ride. And yeah, everyone else has dropped way back. Pearson falls to 9th, Moxie to 10th, and no one else I think was in the top 10. Oh, Colton Mitchell's up to 8th now. Sorry, I missed him.
Man, this is spreading out quickly. There's a lot of gaps already forming at the front of the field.
And you know that means lapped riders are going to be a mess. Once again, Craig Leak is over the bars in third. Here goes Jeremiah Siebold up into the number 3 ride. Gebhardt going to go by as well. Here comes William St. Laurent doing kind of what you were talking about in the first moto. You expected a lot out of him. He drops into the number 5 spot after a subpar moto number 1.
Yeah, not what I was expecting out of him, but maybe a good start. Use that consistency that I know he has to hold himself up here. Meanwhile, Mitchell looks to be the man on
battle
the
for
move.
the lead.
Oh, what happened to Sideoff? Must have gone down, already under attack from Klein. These two were hooked up a little bit last week, especially in our first moto from High Point, and now Klein's trying to go after Sidehoff for the lead here.
Klein going to work that big outside berm. Doesn't lose any time. Maybe even made up a little bit of time. He's going to duck inside here on Sideoff.
At the very least, he's applying pressure to Sidehoff, which, I mean, we don't know where Sidehoff is mentally right now, or really what his, you know, thought or comfort level is on this track. Maybe just having someone breathing down his neck, making him think about his line choices could be enough to push him into a big mistake.
Klein mixing up the lines and being able to stay close while running different lines. Not sure if they're the ones that he normally runs or if he's just comfortable moving around on the track. Whatever he's doing is working. He does lose a little bit of time there to Sidehoff, but he's definitely within striking distance, keeping that pressure on. Klein looks a little indecisive as he comes into the corners on which rut he wants to actually drop into, unless he's trying to run like between bumps and then drop into a rut, but it looks more like indecision. Do I go in or out? Oh, Sideoff slides it down, and we got a new leader, the 74, Sean Klein, won moto number 2 last week, trying to repeat that this week with a moto number 2 win.
So this is already starting to show a little bit of sign of what we may have thought Sidehoff would do in this moto if he got a start, and that is start up front, but maybe not stay there. I'm going to look to see if he regroups here and goes after Klein, or else this could be some big trouble for him as all the other heavy hitters in the championship, like Walter Gebhardt, are up front, and Colton Mitchell already up in the 6, going after St. Laurent right now.
Oh, he gets tagged by Craig Leak coming out of that corner. Leak falls down. Stiebolt back on the 250, looking comfortable. He looks like the man on the move right now out of this top 3 group. He looks like he's running down both of your leaders.
Oh, Gebhardt, who I just mentioned, blew the rut at the bottom of the hill after the SYS highway and is going to hang on to 4th, but Mitchell is coming as he's gotten around St. Laurent. So pretty much most of the guys we thought could be up here. Oh, Sidehoff down in 2nd. And there goes Siebold. And he is trying to get going, will get going in front of Gebhardt, but it is starting to come undone a little bit from Sidehoff.
I gotta think that he's gotta be just frustrated after the last 2 motos in this championship, and then having the whole shot here, running up front and not used to getting past it. He's down again. Here comes Mitchell as well. This is bad news for Sidehoff. He has to mentally regroup right now, or he could fall outside the top 10 in this moto, and that'd be a disaster for the championship.
Yeah, certainly not the day he was hoping for here, at least just to try to get good starts and run up front, but gets a good start this moto. We're not even a third of the way through it, and he is, like you said, kind of falling apart. I'd imagine it's just got to be the frustration getting to him now, because it seemed like early on he had the speed. He just looked comfortable and pushing on the track fine, but now that he's, you know, back behind the 8 ball a little bit, trying to catch up to some of his championship rivals, just pissed off at this track or whatever it is. I don't know. Obviously not
Sideoff
liking
cases
it,
the
though.
triple and is down again, not off the bike, but he's dropping a couple more spots. Actually, only one, as Moxie made a mistake trying to go around the outside, but he did drop a spot to Cohenauer.
Yeah, now he's got 3 spots basically right behind him, as somehow Craig Leak did not hit the banner right there on the side of the track. Almost clipped it.
Oh, Sean Klein's down with the lead, and Jeremiah Siebold going to take it over. Got a little offline. Sean Klein did a little too far inside, swapped into the hay bale. Gets back going in the number 2 spot. But Siebold looking to go 2-1 on the day and take an easy overall win.
Yeah, if he hadn't missed
those
first 2 rounds racing the 450 class, he could be really in this championship battle already.
Yeah, maybe the lack of pressure of a championship helping him excel a little bit as well. Maybe just having fun on the 250. Maybe learn something on the 450 racing with those guys and brought it to the table here in the 250 class. Whatever it is, it's working for Jeremiah Siebold. He has been a man on the move.
Yeah, Mitchell ends up crashing out of the battle that he was in with Walter Gebhardt. Not quite back into the clutches of Kohenauer, Seidhoff, Pearson, all these other guys in the mix here.
That's a nice 3-rider freight train right there. Kohenauer has some heavy pressure from Seidhoff and Pearson. Oh, Pearson falls down off the bike, so now it's just down to Seidhoff and Kahooner. Jeremy Kahooner on the number 42 ride.
This is another good week from Cajon. Now you got me saying his name. You got me saying his name all wrong. Kohenauer, as he had a pretty good week last week. Ran up front for one of our motos at High Point. Almost finished on the podium. This week, another top 10 finish in Moto 1. Top 10 here in Moto 2. Trying to stick with these guys.
They're both reeling in Colton Mitchell at the moment.
Yeah.
So Kohenauer putting a solid lap together. I hate the RF number system sometimes, and right now is one of them. Not seeing Kohenauer with the number 150 on his bike is super strange to me, running the number 42 national number.
Yeah, very, very true. All right, so things settle down a little bit. Battle for second starting to brew, maybe. Gebhardt, yeah, already right onto the back of Klein. Oh. Ooh, good save.
Salty Walty got a little sideways there, doing a little bar dragging into the turn.
Yeah,
somehow closes that gap right back up, though.
Speaking of Salty Walty, I'm sure he is none the thrilled about that first moto, given his speed and really
he's
just
been so consistent this outdoor season. It was like a whole new guy.
I wanted to use that word, but I also didn't because it's really not his MO. But
right, yeah.
He has been consistent.
Different and strange. Something I would have to think he's been consciously working on is being more consistent and probably more calm, maybe a little less salt and a little more pepper. Whatever he's did during this between Supercross and outdoors, it definitely has worked because he's probably getting salty with that lapper there. They had to switch his line up a little bit to get around.
I was trying to go with a salty Walty, but we should call him Pepper Gebhardt joke there, but couldn't really formulate my thoughts.
I apologize for the lack of puns lately. I'm just out of good ones, and I don't want to reuse all the ones that I've used in the past.
Oh, I'm sure some people on our stream haven't heard him. I think you'd be okay. Oh, Gebhardt
down. I was just about to comment how sick that through in the middle of that section was, but not enough air to do it. So Mitchell's going to go on around, and here Seidhoff's not going to get there, even with Gebhardt having to try to get his momentum back up. There's a battle for 7th and 8th going on right now. Moxie just found his way around Brock Pearson. Pearson going to try to strike back down the SYS highway.
Man, sometimes I see those and I'm like, could I call them dualies? Could I not? They both threw it sideways, but they really weren't that close.
Oh, Pearson. Oh, I thought he was going to run it in there. Actually checks up quite a bit, loses some time.
Yeah, he was being real polite there. This could be a situation of just lag bubble central for both of these guys, though. Moxie out of Great Britain, Pearson out of Australia.
A true world championship out here at Race Factory Gaming. Lou Pearson made up a lot of time on that inside line. He's right on the back wheel of Moxie now.
Man, those guys are good through that corner. Oh, Pearson, another run up the hill, trying to show him a wheel. Not quite there yet. Oh, look at that. Lays it down, but I think lost some time doing that. He's going to try an outside line here and cross back over. He has a great drive, but he's pushing it and also making mistakes. I'm going to go on board with him. All right, this is where we're going to see dualies if we're going to see dualies.
I mean, that was almost just a bar turn from Moxie. Oh, Pearson working that inside. I think he's got it.
Yeah, we'll see if
He's going to go inside here, though, and be nice. He could have probably closed that door. He doesn't, and I don't think he's going to get the spot because of it. He's being very cautious, very respectful racing from Brock Pearson, which shows me some confidence that he knows he can make this pass.
Oh!
How do they not go down right there? I have no idea.
Wow.
And Seaberg is actually closed in on both of those guys, making this a 3-rider fight now. Our versus PC.com one to watch from the first moto runs in the 9 spot. Nice moto going here for Ben Seaberg.
That was very strange. I thought Moxie didn't really get the best drive, but I didn't think he didn't have enough to get the triple, then backed out of it last second. And obviously, I don't think Pearson thought he wasn't going to go for it either. That was really close call there.
And as we're halfway through this moto, it's time for the MotoOption.com Top 10 Rundown. Log on to MotoOption.com. They have a 6 selection of casual wears. Jared Seidhoff is down in the 4 spot. We'll get to him in just a moment. Our leader, Jeremiah Seabold, is off the track, riding for the boys on the number 19. Leads the way 11 seconds out front. Don Klein on the Evergood number 74 slots into the number 2 ride. And we find Colton Mitchell coming across in the 3rd spot. Just ran his fastest lap of the race, a 1:47.5. He's 4.5 seconds out of that number 2 spot. And then comes Salty Walty Gebhardt, still the top privateer on this series here, the 250 class on the number 73. Jeremy Cohenauer battling hard with Jared Seidhoff for this top 5 spot. Seidhoff all over him. This 42 ride, MV Films, holds 5th. Seidhoff holds 6th. Here comes Brock Pearson, another MV Films rider, running in the number 7 spot on the number 194. Jordan Moxie, Architect, number 57, runs in the 8 ride. And then here comes Tyler Lewis in 9th. Relax attire. I'm guessing Devin Ryan is not far behind. Here comes Ben Seaberg rounding out your top 10. William St. Laurent runs 11th. There's Devin Ryan back in 12th.
Tyler
Greg
Lewis
Leak
goes
in
down.
13th. I'm going on back because our versuspc.com one to watch, Phil Bull, was running right in that number 13 spot before I started this. He slotted into the 16 spot after a fall off in a 2:02 lap time that last time around. So Phil Bull's going to have to lay the hammer down if he wants to get up close to that top 10. That's been your MotoOption.com top 10 rundown as the lead has shrunk to under 6 seconds. A mistake that lap for Jeremiah Seabold is allowing Sean Klein to get back closer, but Sean Klein's got a couple lappers in front of him to deal with. Maybe that's what happened to Seabold.
Yeah, I think Klein's going to have his hands full here. That is Jake Warden and 188. Not quite sure of that. Oh, Klein almost into Warden.
The 188 is Clay Alfrey.
I thought it might have been, but never know with Clay. So Klein gets around them. Now it's going to be Mitchell's turn to try to do the same. Either way you slice it for Mitchell, at least some positives to take from tonight. He's going to get on the podium probably overall, and he's going to gain a lot of points on Seidhoff. But gosh, I'm sure he's itching for that win.
You know, we did that actually like a top 15 rundown. You know, we didn't find was our Moto number 1 winner, Rush Chapman, who's also in this title hype. And that's because he is still not even in a points-paying position. He's mired back in the 23rd spot. He has a long ways to go just to try to score points.
That is no good as Mitchell gets into Jake Warden, who just went down, so he's going to lose some time. Klein continuing to try to hunt down Seabold. Mitchell now going to have to go back to work and get Klein. Now Seidhoff up back into the 4th spot. I think he's
stabilized a little bit. I was just going to say he's kind of making his way back through the pack now. All the guys that went by him earlier, he's actually working his way back in front of. So yeah. Seidhoff doing some damage control here. He needs to.
I'd be curious, or perhaps would believe that, you know, he crashed that first time, lost the lead, then crashed real quick again after that, and started losing more positions, and talked about the frustration creeping in, maybe not gelling with the track. Seems like he's calmer now, you know, he's riding smoother, he's not overdoing it, he's looking where he's going, he's waiting on things to come to him a little bit. And that's the Seidhoff we saw at the opening rounds where, you know, he just kind of laid back and rode his own race until other guys made mistakes, and then he was able to work his way into these battles.
Right, 6th and 7th battle is on right now. Salty Walty working hard to go around Moxie.
Oh!
Puts him on the ground. He had actually been fairly patient with him. He showed him a wheel a couple times, but hit the brakes, and then all of a sudden it just absolutely cuts over on him when he gets a run on him and lights him up.
Wow. Wonder what Moxie's going to think of that one if he gets back to...
Dropping back into the 8th spot is Jeremy Kohenauer with some heavy pressure from William St. Laurent. As they're in a battle, Ben Seberg also right there in the mix.
Yeah, this is a good little close battle. These guys have been kind of locked together for a while.
As he made a mistake, here comes Kohenauer looking to get around Jordan Moxie.
Yeah, I almost want to go back on board with Seberg, but we're going to see these guys off of this jump here.
That might have been Dooley's on the front too there. I think I'd give that one to you.
All right, all right. Going to be Dooley's. First time taking a shot. I like it.
Shots. Meanwhile, Kohenauer going to take a shot to go into the number 7 spot and makes a mistake and loses the spot to St. Laurent instead. So he went to be the aggressor, ends up being the aggressee. I don't know. I don't English well. Oh, St. Laurent takes a face full of crossbar pad and loses the spot right back on the bomber triple. He bombed that thing.
I hear so often about these guys and their stability being so prime, but that was gnarly how much that St. Laurent faced that triple jump and just kind of bounced off of it like no biggie. Like, yeah, suspension just soaks it all up. I'm good. No fall off crash.
Jordan Foster now putting the pressure on St. Laurent. He's got a run on him, and St. Laurent makes a mistake. Foster going to go around into the number 9 spot.
And Seberg is still right at the back of this train. So Foster's actually kind of been the one really moving through this pack. He got Seberg. Now he's got St. Laurent. He's trying to go after Kohenauer. Oh, Kohenauer, ooh, splits the difference there. Lapped rider is down. Can't see who the number is on that one. Foster's trying to get around. That is Reno Brennan, perhaps? Or was that Aaron Bonneau on the 422?
Pop up a little bit, though, Gebhardt under some serious pressure from Pearson, or maybe he just made his way around Pearson. I'm guessing not. Oh, now as I say that, I made you jump there to see nothing. Except Pearson eating a bunch of Tennessee soil.
Sidehawk gets into a couple of lappers. Yeah.
Yep.
That was Carlo, I think, on the 66 right there. And Mahan on the 37, maybe disagreeing with each other. Yeah, that is Carlo.
Not having a great performance on the track that he built.
Yeah, I think Mahan is just probably over the whole racing thing when it comes to sim. Was for a little bit there regarded as the best player in the game. And if I'm not mistaken, you could correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, but he won the MXS Cup all 3 main events in 2015 as well.
I believe that's correct. I mean, I know he carried a lot of steam coming off of an off-season series into the Supercross series and then never really materialized as a championship contender.
Yeah.
A lot of hype and couldn't back it up here at the official RaceFactoryGaming.com series. And I mean, we've seen that with multiple riders. It's the top guys bring such a different level of focus and determination to these replica races. Uh-oh, speaking of focus and determination, Sean Klein must have dropped some focus and determination as he drops the number 2 spot to Colton Mitchell on that last lap around.
Yeah, must have had a crash somewhere. We'll see if he can regroup. But interestingly enough, Siebold, who got the lead and looked like he was going to maybe take off with it a little bit, isn't that far ahead of Mitchell. And I talked earlier about Mitchell maybe being happy with a 3-3. He could be looking for more here, maybe picking up that first win of the season and taking the maximum points that he can away from Seidhoff here.
Big jump down in the pit for Mitchell off the drop-off down the SYS highway.
That's another jump that's really hard for someone to understand who doesn't play this game, how that's a blind jump and you have to know the exact speed to be able to land in that spot in the rut. Like that's a very, very tough line that those guys are choosing to take, and most of these guys are getting it every lap, which is very, very impressive.
That's why they're pros and we're sitting in the booth, Kellen. Takes many a laps to be able to do that.
Oh,
Mitchell
saves it.
somehow stays on the bike. I was just going to comment. Actually, I'd flipped back to him. I was like, man, he is absolutely hauling. I bet this is going to be a new hot lap. Makes that mistake, and now he looks back. He's got a face full of the 74 of Sean Klein. I wonder if Klein's not warming up before these races enough or something, because he's definitely better in Moto number 2s.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just luck on the starts, but he might just be getting in his groove late in Moto number 1. Then he's warmed up for Moto number 2. Might want to check out his pre-race ritual.
Right. Well, we see Seidhoff, somewhat staying up here this time around, and him and Klein were linked up in the first moto. So obviously they have or had the speed in that first moto, but maybe just a start, or maybe just lacking intensity right out of the gate. I know it could happen to anybody with these races kind of just coming up on you real quick. You don't even realize it's race time and you're already on the track. Especially with that kind of maybe little confusion right there at the beginning of the race with the 20+2, maybe setting some of these guys a little off their game mentally. But really just giving them any excuse, yeah.
Klein going to come up short on that jump down there. Maybe he purposely went one jump shorter as it might be a little easier.
He's going to keep Mitchell honest here.
Thinking we'll see the 450 guys quadding over that jump on the SYS highway. I'm waiting to see. Actually, I've only ran a few laps on the racetrack, so be interesting to see here momentarily as we're 25 minutes into this thing. It's winding down. Definitely not the lapper problems in like the big groups like we saw in Moto number 1.
Well, that might be a product of some of the rage quitters that you mentioned. We were only 3 minutes or so into the moto, and rage quit galore was happening already. Battle
for 5th is on fire. Both guys, Gebhardt and Pearson, off the bomber triple at the same time, about a knobby width apart. Salty Walty working hard on Brock Pearson.
So now the question that everyone wants to know the answer to is if this position might get Brock Pearson on the podium overall. And Chris may have called it. Oh!
That mistake's going to allow Moxie to kind of close up on these guys. Gebhardt not leaving any room for Pearson at all. And is that going to fire Pearson up to fire back at him?
Pearson's not the guy you want to get mad at you with that lag bubble. He can just go in there and send you.
You haven't really seen him use it much, but that is something to keep in mind. Oh, Gebhardt down and off the bike. So there goes Brock Pearson. Looking to go 4-5 on the day. I don't think he's going to get up to a 4th even in this motor. He's 27 seconds back. He makes a mistake and he's down. So here goes Moxie like, see you later. And that could shake up the overall big time. Here comes Chapman as Pearson's trying to get back on the track.
Oh, yeah. That was...
Probably missed a timing gate there as he rejoins the action.
With Gebhardt side by side
and
now.
Jordan Foster's right there in the mix as well. 3 down the hill at the same time.
I can guarantee you that on the salt and pepper scale, there's a lot more salt coming out of Gebhardt right now.
Gebhardt just sends it into him. What a bonehead move from Walter Gebhardt, and that, my friends, is the salt that we're talking about.
They're both down, and they're going to get up still mad at each other and still battling.
There goes Gebhardt to run it in deep on him again. Another bonehead move from Walter Gebhardt.
Wow. They're about 5-6 spots worse than they were at the beginning when this all started. And Gebhardt was going to make sure that he finished the job there that time.
Now he has Ben Seberg all over him. And that, my friends, is most likely why the top privateer is still a privateer and no team wants to touch him.
That was an interesting sequence right there. But yeah, the real key to all that situation was how many positions they lost and how much time they both lost because of that.
Yeah, and I mean, you can't do that if you're battling for a championship. You have to be smarter than that, more patient than that, calmer than that. And maybe someday Walter will learn. Maybe not. So, you know what? This race is still not over. It's a 5.5 second lead for Seabold as he only had a 156 last time around to the 149 of Sean Klein.
Yeah.
So Klein's still having a shot at winning this thing as Seabold has some lappers in front of him to deal with.
Well, this is interesting. Obviously, we have the situation of Klein maybe getting to Seabold. I was actually looking at the situation of Seidhoff perhaps getting to Mitchell, which I did not foresee being a possibility earlier in this race when Seidhoff was starting to fall apart a little bit, but he's looking good, looking comfortable, flowing. and not too far behind Mitchell, who just made a mistake. It's just
not to keep beating a dead horse, but you know, not only is it the spots that you lose in this race when you create a rivalry like that with another player, but in those early laps, it's so important to not make a mistake and fall down, and you have to be able to race closely with other guys. And all it takes is for them not to like you and run you up over a berm, and you go from, you know, 5th to 20 something. And as we've seen with Chapman, who absolutely dominated moto number 1, I mean, he's still struggling back in the 16 spot in this moto. We saw it with Sideoff, who's been the dominant guy in this class. Moto number 1, he couldn't come through the field up into the top 10. You just can't have those things happen. You don't want those enemies on the racetrack.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And honestly, just speaking from personal experience, you know, someone like Tyson Fresquez, I can usually trust when it comes to opening lap battles not to do something stupid and run it deep in on me or something like that. And I feel like he's one of the best when it comes to getting others around him to trust that he's going to make the right move and not do some sort of stupid decision where, you know, Walter's one of many that make some really kind of boneheaded decisions late in the race, early in the race, whatever, and you can't trust them. And yeah, that's only going to hurt Gebhardt in the future if he has someone like Pearson who already gets pretty good starts, but also has, you know, the lag bubble kind of to his advantage.
And some
if you
good
want
speed.
to talk
I mean,
about
he's
it.
a good rider. It's not like he's taking me out that he's going to be way in front of and he can just blow by me. You know, it's someone that's legitimately a contender. He's going to see more often than not in these motos. So, yeah, definitely something to keep in mind as we watch the rest of this series unfold. And some of you guys might be wondering, is it a bannable offense or any of that stuff? Aggressive racing, I mean, he didn't do anything necessarily illegal, just something that I wouldn't recommend doing unless you want to have that reputation. And it's one of those things, you live by the sword, you die by the sword.
Yeah, well, Pearson's got to be careful now, just taking a look back at him. He is obviously not happy, and this is usually a situation where we see guys get themselves into predicaments that could get them suspended. Talking about illegal maneuvers where they're not happy with the rider in front of them. Even if it's not the rider that caused them to be unhappy, they may do something a little outrageous.
Yeah, we've seen it from some very veteran guys in the community happen. So hopefully Pearson just puts his mind on racing forward, maybe to repay the favor to Gebhardt. But even then, vigilante justice, not really the way to go about it. If you can do it legally, that's one thing. But if you do it where you're cutting the track or doing something dumb, then it causes a problem for sure.
Right. Well, we're winding down in this moto. We are past the 30-minute mark, and I have to assume we're going to hit the 1 lap board next time by for Seabolt.
John Klein lurking back there. It's 4 seconds. Keeping him honest. Seabolt can't afford a mistake as he heads up the bomber triple another time, bike humping all the way up to it to get over it. It makes me nervous. Every time he jumps that thing, he's jumping front and low. It's just the style he's hitting it with, but it always looks like it actually threw him into an endo, but I've seen him do it enough now. It's just the way he's hitting it, but yeah. Yeah,
that might just be him preparing for the possibility of coming up short. And, you know, with JLV's new suspension update a year and a half ago, landing on the nose is much more beneficial to the possibility of surviving a crash. So maybe that's just him kind of foreseeing the possibility of coming up short and trying to throw himself into that position if he needs to.
I'll tell you what, with 1 lap to go, the top 4, none of them are really that far apart from each other, but the gap back to 5th is 43 seconds. So like first moto, we saw that from 1st to 2nd. This time it's from 4th back to 5th. A huge separation, but actually 5th, 6th, and 7th, all pretty close on the track. Jordan Foster, Jordan Moxie, and Walter Gebhardt slides out actually, so he's going to lose some serious time there. Moxie goes all the way off the bike, so Gebhardt's going to take the spot. And that actually does spread that group out a little bit, though.
All right, here comes
Seabolt coming to the line.
Yeah, he's going to get the white flag here, and, well, let's see. He's got a lap to go. Can Klein get to him? Yeah, it's been right about there this whole time, so unless Seabolt makes a mistake.
Now, Seabolt ran a 147.8 last time around, 149.1 for Klein, so Seabolt maybe saw the pressure coming, turned up the pace. Klein definitely still lurking back there. And he has 10 seconds, 11 seconds now over Mitchell. So he can afford to lay it all on the line here and go for it.
Oh, Lapper holds him
Siebold
up.
behind a Lapper. Is he going to be able to get the...
Oh, he's over the
down
bars!
Off the bike.
Here comes Klein. Wow, that is incredible.
Oh, Siebold's down off the bike again, so here
That's
comes
Donovan.
Mitchell.
And Seidhoff is not going to be too far behind as Siebold's going to get... Oh, this is
He's stuck
no
on the
way.
face. He's going to have to go backwards.
Oh, but
and
Seidhoff
around.
is going to backflip the triple and go down. He hit a rider that was down on the face.
Donovan was still down, so Siebold... Now, the one thing for Siebold is he lost the moto win. That's probably all he really cares about is he's not in championship contention. But for back-to-back weeks, unless something crazy happens, Sean Klein going to win moto number 2.
Yeah. Wow, this is a big turn of events. Klein, we haven't really even talked about him being a possible championship contender tonight, but really he's in it. I mean, he's gone from being about a 10th place guy at the opener to an 8th place guy at the round after that to a 5th place guy to winning last week to winning Moto 2 this week. I mean, it's not going to be the overall, but wow, oh wow, and he just hung in there that whole time. Siebold makes a mistake, Klein comes through, and that's all she wrote.
Klein going to just kind of baby it down this last straightaway. Into the last turn.
Yeah, Sean Klein, he's going to take moto number 2 at Muddy Creek, a gift win, but he'll take it any way he can get it, and I think that
the overall.
Colton Mitchell, yeah, is going to win the overall 3-2 on the day to get the overall. Seidhoff is still in front of Siebold. That doesn't matter anyway because Siebold needed to finish ahead of Mitchell. Seidhoff going to come back and finish third, a great recovery. Siebold is going to be pissed. I'd love to read chat right now, but I can't. Foster is going to put in
disconnect
a... Wow.
from Siebold.
I mean, does he really have anybody to blame, though? I mean, yes, that Lapper got in his way, but he went...
He was hugging the bail to try to let him by, though, too.
Yeah.
I mean, it does...
He wasn't going to be able to
sucks.
get the triple, that's for sure, but he did kind of float to the outside of the track himself. You know, not really like he was pushed there and then hit that tough block. I don't know. Weird situation for sure.
Our Moto 1 winner, Russ Chapman, gets 17th place. Wow.
That just goes to show you how crazy this 250 class is. As Foster does take home a 5th, and Moxie is going to bring it home and pick up a 6th in this one, so good ride for him. Devin Ryan, Relaxa Tires top rider between him and Tyler Lewis. He's going to take 7th. Gebhardt takes home an 8th. St. Laurent puts it inside of the top 10 in this moto with a 9th. And rounding out your top 10 was our one to watch in moto number 1. He goes 15-10 on the day, so probably somewhere right about 10th or 11th overall, I'm sure.
I'm reading in chat that might have been Brock Pearson that he was actually...
Lapping? Well, that
Yeah.
could...
It was Chase Donovan that he was laughing.
Well, no, Chase was not the guy that hit him initially. Chase hit him second time.
The first guy was someone, at least on my screen, Chris, I don't know about you, but that was on a Husqvarna.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, and that Brock Pearson was showing up with those skins, so that's
Right.
possible.
Yeah.
Cuts are in.
Nothing
Not gonna change
changing inside of the
anything.
top 10, yeah, so really strange change of events here at the end of this 250 race. We'll try to keep you guys updated going into the 450 motos if anything happening or what's said on the chat reel. But that's going to wrap up the 250s from here at Muddy Creek. Colt Mitchell, your unofficial overall winner in this one, as we're going to send it to a quick break. Be back on the other side of this with more 450 action. But thanks for watching the 250 action from the Ride365.com National at Muddy Creek.